I'm Erik Ramanathan, and I had the honor of serving more than 3 years as U.S. Ambassador to Sweden in the Biden administration. I landed in Stockholm just 5 weeks before Russia's full scale invasion of Ukraine brought war to Europe for the first time in decades. For 210 years, Sweden remained steadfastly neutral or unaligned through world wars and the Cold War. But working together to face down Putin's military threat with clear eyes, Sweden made the courageous, values driven decision to join the NATO alliance, one of the most momentous foreign policy developments of the past 30 years. I've taught seminars on the many reasons why, but today I was reflecting on parallels between the difficult 2 year NATO accession process and the kind of high stakes business negotiations I've been involved in and seen unfold in recent years. Public and private transactions where the company is on the line, and what boards, CEOs, and their advisors might learn from what we experienced on the geopolitical stage to make this monumental change happen. Let me offer a few. Lesson 1: anticipate disinformation. Every company and every transaction has its detractors. Market competitors, contesting technologies, competition for key talent, activist investors, sometimes even just bad blood. Your organization spends a lot of time thinking about these threats, but figuring out which might feed concerted resistance to a deal or a new strategy requires a broad aperture and an imaginative mindset. That's even more true in recent years, in which digital technologies and social media allow rapid and concerted escalation of lies and conspiracies to listeners who are already primed to be distrustful of institutions. Rapidly spreading disinformation can quickly heighten disaffection and manipulate the opinion of stakeholders that you need on your side. Sweden's NATO accession had its detractors too. Public opinion support for joining the Transatlantic Defensive Alliance in early 2022, and for many years prior, never cracked the 30% range. The Prime Minister's own political party, Sweden's largest, was historically against it by large margins. Joining would mean a commitment to doubling the size of its military in just a few short years, which would cost a fortune and require massive cultural changes like broader youth conscription and reactivating mothballed infrastructure. And guess what? In the 2020s, all of these natural disincentives can be vastly amplified by disinformation, whether from a geopolitical state actor like Russia and its paid operatives, or from other stakeholders who want to queer the deal. When the chance to bring Sweden into NATO emerged in the spring of 2022, it wasn't just a task that would require all hands on deck to educate about the benefits and costs of membership, but to counteract a tidal wave of disinformation hitting well before the first proactive public debate even began. Sweden would be forced to house nuclear weapons and law-breaking allied troops, they said. Its government was stealing the children of immigrant citizens and couldn't be trusted. Sweden was putting a target on its back by signing on. Well, from day one, we worked with Sweden to combat this kind of deliberate disinformation. We assembled a multinational interagency team across our embassy in Washington, in Sweden, and beyond to detect disinformation and to mount a coordinated response across domains ranging from public affairs to cybersecurity. Do you have a strategy to avoid disinformation when rumor or news of that make or break deal emerges? Lesson 2: signal safety with actions. Just as there are always detractors, there also tends to be a silent majority of people, workforce, customers, shareholders who have real affinity for a company or its products or brands. Not absolute, of course, but it's generally why they're still there when a change of leadership or direction unfolds. Every industry, every deal is different, but at root, these stakeholders usually have some version of safety that they need. Safe jobs, safe supply lines, safe investments, safety from risks. But in a modern world where talking points and promises are so often met with cynicism and distrust, How do you make these silent majority stakeholders feel safe? I'll tell you what we did in Sweden. We couldn't promise the kind of military guarantees that come with eventual NATO membership, but we could park the biggest damn US Navy ship that would fit diagonally across Stockholm Harbor right in front of the Royal Palace. American B-1 and B-52 bombers could fly over key cities in loud and unmistakable formation. Peacetime military exercises with both our militaries could double in size and complexity. Dozens of American military flag officers, top generals, and admirals could visit every military base and corner of Sweden and share their analysis firsthand. And as ambassador, I made sure I had as many events and interviews about NATO in Sweden's 19 counties as I had in its capital. This full court press was instrumental in turning public opinion in favor of NATO accession and keeping citizens engaged and steadily in favor of membership throughout, and despite a challenging 2-year process. How is your company signaling its commitments with actions? Even if they can't be ironclad guarantees, as a new deal gets struck or leadership transition occurs. What needs to be done through closing and beyond to provide a real feeling of safety amidst bold, courageous change? Lesson 3, expect provocateurs. Even when you have a great business case and support strategy and have prepared for active disinformation feeding resistance, there's another factor heightened in modern deal making. And while it's likely to be surprising in nature and difficult to anticipate, it nonetheless should be expected in an era of widespread political polarization and increased geopolitical conflict. Provocateurs who have no obvious stake or connection to your company or deal, but see opportunity in disruption or in attracting the kind of attention that a newsworthy matter can bring. While the nature of these provocations can't be easily predicted, you need to have a cross-sectoral rapid response infrastructure in place, an interdisciplinary team stretching from board to legal to public relations, with the right partner network on speed dial. Sweden's NATO membership needed to be approved by consent of all 30 existing NATO allies. Sweden had been a committed partner to NATO peacekeeping operations for years and has the 4th largest defense industry in Europe. It knows a lot about the Arctic and the special maritime requirements of the Baltic Sea. That's a lot of capability. But one NATO ally withheld its consent for nearly 2 years. As soon as it became clear that Turkey might not grant speedy consent, the provocation began. A nationalist politician protesting Sweden's immigration policies and large Muslim refugee population burned the Quran holy book in front of the Turkish embassy. Activists who wanted to call attention to the plight of Sweden's sizable Kurdish diaspora hung an effigy of Turkey's president outside City Hall. An Iraq-born religious convert publicly desecrated more Qurans to seize the proverbial megaphone of the news. He has since been assassinated. This is serious stuff. Even if it has little to do with whether Sweden contributes to or gets great value from NATO membership in a continent and a world full of security concerns and needed defense collaboration. So we developed rapid reaction teams across our embassy with the Swedes and with other allies and agencies to deal with every provocation from media to security to stakeholder engagement. Will you have a nimble, well-resourced strategy for when the unknowable provocateur pulls you into a whole new frontier of challenge or chaos? These are just a few reasons today's multinational enterprises benefit from engaging directors and strategic advisors with a cross-sectoral perspective, spanning business, government, academia, and civil society. Thanks for listening. Let's be in touch.